There we go. Well, it's just gone past 7 o'clock in Queensland, Australia. We don't jump to daylight saving. I just want to let you know that. Meanwhile, our guests in the UK and across the border into New South Wales do work on daylight saving. You can watch the show, obviously, on any Facebook page and the Facebook pages, I should say, and also the YouTube channels, Radio FM 88 Australia, Andrina Forrest, and X is Radio FM 88 Aussie. We just want to make an announcement that over the Christmas period, we've done something completely different. We've actually gone and changed the whole structure of our songs from 440 hertz to 432 hertz. And there's a special reasoning for that. And I'm quite sure in the conversation, Rhydian will be able to amplify what's just happened with the music being changed to 432. So, and that actually came about from another guest we had from the UK, Christian Carry-On, who was talking about 432 hertz. So without further ado, but I wish you welcome for 2025. And I'm passing over to Andrina, and let's do it, mate.
Okay, mate. Thank you, Jeffrey. And good morning, good day, good evening to everybody who's tuning in to Dreaming the New Dream. It's lovely to be back live again after our little Christmas break. So welcome all you newbies. So today is the 9th of January 2025. And it is great pleasure today that we have Rhydian Lewis as our guest. So Rhydian, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Whose car alarm's going off?
Well, it ain't mine.
That's live. That's what happens when you go live, mate.
Yeah. Well, it's still going. Hello, Andrina. Oh my God. Hey, Jeff. How are you guys doing? It's so good to be here. Yeah, I'm just across the border of Queensland in New South Wales. It's just gone 8 o'clock for us here. It's just gone dark. You can see a little bit of dusk still outside, but yeah. Hello to anybody from the UK that's watching. Any of my family or friends in the UK. It's been a real beautiful journey actually, coming from the United Kingdom over to this wonderful place. And we still got the car alarm's gone. Hey, Adrina, back to you.
Right. So it's fantastic to have you on the show, and I love your music. I mean, absolutely fabulous. And yeah, so just wanted to acknowledge all the work that you're doing around the world with your music, touching soul, and that's the main ingredient for me, is who touches soul on many levels. But it's interestingly that you were born in the UK in South Wales. And now you're in Australia, in North Wales.
in New South Wales. I know, I didn't have to move very far.
So where were you born in Wales?
I was actually born in a little village called Tynant, which is in the Principality of, you can find it on the map, it's called Pontypridd. It's where Tom Jones was born. And Tom's father and my father, and including myself, all three of us were underground coal miners. And,
really?
Yeah, wow. My father actually came to England to work as a coal miner, because I do believe that Margaret Thatcher at the time was actually closing down the predominant sort of industry in Wales, which was coal mining. So my mother is English. Her name's Yvonne, and my father's name is Penryn, and a good old Welsh name.
Yeah.
That's a right proper Penryn. And we moved from the beautiful sort of Snowdonia sort of section just outside of Swansea, and we moved up to Manchester, a really interesting, beautiful place. When we moved there, it was actually called Lancashire, and we moved to a little town called Tilsley, which had a very huge populace of coal mines in Lee, Agecroft, Goulburn. There were so many coal mines there. And I actually became a coal miner at 18, so I did go underground. It's quite amusing for a little while, until you realize it's not doing your health a lot of favors. So
no, I bet.
I spent just under 2 years down a coal mine, just outside of city centre, Salford, played a place called Agecroft. And I was a coal miner there for just under 2 years. And funnily enough, one of my first sort of, I won't call it a stage, but if you've been down a coal mine or if you know anything about it, there's actually 4 floors in the massive industrialized coal mines, the modern coal mines that were built in the 60s, the 70s, and they had 4 floors and you could fit 50 miners a floor. So we had 200 miners going down a shaft all the way down. It was just short of a mile. It was one of the largest, deepest shafts in Europe. And there was a coal miner there called Rockabilly. And he used to sing Elvis all the way down.
Really?
He was brilliant. He was an absolute star. And my father was on permanent night shifts. And I get to see him when I do a night shift. And he'd say g'day in Welsh, obviously. I had no connections to Australia at that time. But yeah, it was an interesting time. And the connection now with Tom Jones, we've obviously both ended up in the same industry, and it's wild. From being born in the same town, it's taken me 56 years to get to see Tom live, because he actually came to this town where I live now. It's called Byron Bay, and it's the world's largest blues festival. And he came last year now, 2024 in May. He came in May, and he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. He sang all the classics, Green Grass, and Sex Bomb, and Kiss. Brilliant, not unusual.
Can't beat those classics, eh?
I know, and there was still a contingency of 65 and over females that were still at the front that had come armed with a bag full of knickers, and they just couldn't hit him. And I kept saying to them, "You're gonna have to get closer. You're gonna have to go to the center so you can." But he never made they never made contact with the knickers and Tom. But ironically, I was singing in a retirement village a couple of weeks afterwards, and I recognized one of the ladies that was the main ringleader. And I actually pulled her up on it in front of the audience, and she had a ball. She loved it. She wasn't embarrassed at all.
No, I bet. It's all good fun, eh?
Yeah.
So
I love your accent, by the way.
Oh, ooh, are.
I love it.
So do you think being born in Wales gave you that beautiful singing voice so that you could do what you're doing now? Was your dad a singer? Because obviously the Welsh have all got beautiful voices, and they're well known for their choirs and all sorts of things, aren't they? So was that your starting ground? Did you start off with a lovely voice?
You know what? That's a beautiful question, Andrina, actually. And that is the rumour, that if you're Welsh, you're born in Wales, usually you have a good voice. And there's a lot of Welsh choirs. But whether every Welshman can sing is another question I'd like to find out. But I think it's because we're all shouting at each other. We don't have a mobile phone. It's speaking to the person in the valley opposite. Hello, boy.
Right. So, I mean, I read your bio. Oh, my God. You've done so many things. It was like photographer, TV presenter, model, bodybuilder. Oh God, it goes on and on and on. So start at the very beginning. Like obviously, you were born in Wales, but some of the steps and some of the things you've done. because obviously you would have found yourself in many situations and you've had lots of doors opening up along. So over to you on however you want to share what you'd like to share today about you and what you do.
Okay, well, go make yourself a cup of tea, Jeff and Andrea, because this is going to take a while. But anyway, so I'm going to start when I was 15. So I was introduced to Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just around the corner was the local police station, and right next door to that was a scout hut. And a friend of mine, he's a friend of mine now, but in the beginning, Colin started up a gym. And I was so impressed with Arnold's body, and I used to watch him every day before going to school in that documentary called Pumping Iron, and I was obsessed. So I'd go along and get as many tips as I could from Pumping Iron, and I'd try and look like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I used to watch Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used to watch it daily. It was like they were mostly father figures for me, those two. So that's where my fitness and my strength came from with regards to being healthy and having a good body as such. And then, ironically enough, on one of the chat shows in England, I think it might have even been on Parkinson, there was a breakdance crew that were visiting the United Kingdom in the 80s when I was 15, and they were called the Rock Steady Crew. Now they were spinning on their heads and doing all this crazy footwork on the floor, and they looked like gymnasts. Most of them were sort of Puerto Rican from the Bronx, and they were sort of Afro sort of mix, wonderful athletic individuals that had this skill called breakdancing or b-boying or body popping. And I was obsessed. So my brother, a couple of friends from down the street, Danny, David, we all got together. We bought a piece of lino and we were breakdancing non-stop on this thing. And we'd go in the house, we'd play the VHS, and we'd try and get our heads around all these moves. And then we'd go outside and then we try and replicate what we'd seen these New Yorkers do on this lineup. We dressed like them. We tried to speak like them. We did all the moves like them. And we put together one of Manchester's first breakdancing sort of groups. And we were actually called, what were we called now? Oh my good Lord. Body Rock. I think we're called Body Rock or somebody. And all the local other groups, they'd come and find us because we used to train on the local market square, and they'd come down and have a competition and see who was the best breakdancer. They'd come from all over the place. They'd come down from Leigh and Manchester, and they'd find us on the Tilsley Town Square breakdancing on our lino with a battery-operated tape recorder. So that's where it all began. And it was very strange, actually, because my mother, she was really into going on holidays to Spain. So we actually went to a place called Benidorm. And my brother and my best friend Danny came along, and we went dancing in our hotel. And the hotel management actually offered us a job. I mean, I was 16. I'd literally just left school. And he offered my brother, who was 13, no chance for him to go because he was obviously underage. My friend Danny. So I said to my mother, I said, what do you think? She said, well, I think you better come home first because we need to talk about this. So, because mums always know.
Of
and
course.
I just thought, I wasn't an argumentative son. I followed my mum home, and I'd get a phone call from this fella, and he said, "Are you still cook?" He sounded like the guy from 40 Towers, Barcelona. And he said, "Are you coming to Spain, Rhydian?" Well, he couldn't say Rhydian. He would call me William. William, are you coming to Benidorm to break dance for us? So I actually was amazed. My mum actually bought me a return ticket from Manchester Airport to Alicante, which was the nearest airport. And I had £80 in traveller's checks and a little bit of cash. I spent most of my cash on the taxi from the airport to Benidorm, because it was, at that time, it was an hour and a half journey. And I had the time of my life. I was breakdancing in nightclubs and hotels, and I was on the street, doing some busking. I was working in cafe bars that had dance floors. And I think that was instead of the Costa del Sol or the Costa Brava, or a place called Benidorm. And I'd worked in Alicante, I worked in Elda and Alcoy. I learned a little bit of Spanish. And ironically, I actually sing in Spanish now.
Oh, do you?
I sing a couple of Spanish songs. And I got a little bit concerned. I could have stayed in Spain for a while. I could have stayed indefinitely. But I think my mother was, because nobody had been an entertainer before in our family, so she was concerned that I didn't have, there's Benidorm, that's it. That's what it looks like. It looks a little bit like the Gold Coast. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. There's some gorgeous mountains. And just like Byron, it's got an island just in the front of it as well. It's kind of wild. There was a water ski place. There was like an in situ water ski ramp right in the bay as well. I had the time of my life. Anyway, my mum convinced me that it was probably best that I went home and got some qualifications from college. So I said goodbye to my friends in Spain. And by the time I got back to England, I was a little bit of a celebrity. There was a poster of me up in the bank, in the local bank, and all my mates from school. Just a picture of me, I think I might have been doing that. But so when I got home, there was a poster of me in the bank, and I was a couple of weeks late from registration from college, but my mother had actually sorted it all out. So when I went there, my old school friends from my old school had actually gone to the college, and they were like, "Oh my God, tell me all about it." And I was a little bit of a celebrity. It was wild. Even people that I didn't like or talk to at school actually knew that I'd actually done this sort of really cool thing. So that was a bit of a thing for me. It gave me a lot of independence. And as a 16-year-old trying to work out, coach routes, dealing with taxi drivers, working out what meals you're going to eat, and looking after your laundry, in-house laundry. So it taught me a lot at 16. It was a really special time. And I've got a lot of love for Spain. I really love the culture, the language, and the fact that they're really highly into God. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. And it's one of the places, believe it or not, that I'd like to take my family to visit when we go to Europe again. So, and then from where were we up to? So from breakdancing, I did a bit of college, and then I went to another college. I became a coal miner and a landscape gardener. I was a chef for a little while at the Little Chef, that sort of roadside cafe in England. With the red banner. I worked there as a waiter and a chef. I did about a year. My father came into there and said, "Rhydian, you're 18 years old now. You can legally go down the coal mine. You get a lot more money down there than you would here, boyo." So that was that. Signed on for a management course at the coal mine. I did 2 days at a university studying psychology and how to blow stuff up with dynamite and all the laws about gases and how the coal mine works. And 3 days a week I'd be down the coal mine. And then after that, I went to a university to study landscaping. I've got a City and Girls Phase 3 certificate. It took me 3 years to get. I didn't like the coal mine very much. I loved the people. I didn't like where it was heading. It was a very tough job, very dangerous, unhealthy. And I was one of only 2 individuals that used to wear a coal dust mask down the coal mine. And we know how effective those masks are as of late. So, yeah, well, apparently the coal dust particles were smaller than the smallest hole on the masks. So I used to put 2 on. I used to think that it would help me if I put 2 on. But I came out okay. I came out okay. And I went to this college for 3 years. I did a City and Guilds in horticulture because I wanted to do the opposite of being down a big black hole where you didn't know what time of day it was. So I became a landscape gardener for a couple of years. And then I was lucky enough to form a friendship with a gentleman called Nathan. We met in the local swimming pool in Tilsley, as we call them, a swimming baths. And there wasn't really that much going on in my town, but they had a baths. And there was a deep end, and me and my friend Nathan, we'd race each other. And we got talking, and we'd go out on a Saturday night, and we were just in the right place at the right time. One Saturday night, we'd actually got in with the right manager of this nightclub. It was called the Royale, and it was only girls only that night. And the manager, he said, Nathan, Rhydian, do you want to come in and cop a load of this this male review strip group up from London? It's all girls. It'll just be you, me. It will be the only males in the place. So we thought, oh my God, it's going to be crazy. Let's go and watch it. So we watched. Just trying to think what they were called. They were called the Dream Boys. The Dream Boys from London. And they were on stage. And I was a dancer at that stage in my life. I'd actually earned a living. And the breakdancing and everything else had actually stuck with me. I was very good. I'd been a ballroom dancer as well. Actually, weirdly enough, when I was doing ballroom dancing at 14 or 15, I actually had this famous fella who would go on to be part of Take That. His name was Donald. What was his first name? He was a model as well. We had the same agent later in life, wildly enough. But anyway, so I just looked at this group from London and I thought, oh my God, I can totally see myself doing that. And my friend was, into physical sport and looking good, and he was a great dancer. And then we actually knew one of the male pole dancers in this club, and we asked him. His name was Errol, and Errol said, "Oh, I know a guy that knows a gym in Cheetham Hill, which is a really dodgy place in Manchester where you could buy all these cheap clothes, just around the corner from the prison." So we'd actually got a place to rehearse. The gym owner became part of the group. He had another friend. So organically, we had 5 members of this strip group. We called ourselves the Untouchables, and we toured England for 2 years.
Really?
Howard Donald, that was the guy. And thank you for that. Howard Donald would go on to join Take That. And we both had the same friends in the dance school, and we both had the same dance teacher, a guy called Nigel Horrocks, who ran a dance school called the 180 Dance School in Manchester. He was one of those judges that you'd see on the television now, celebrity ballroom dancing shows. He was of that ilk. I used to love doing the waltz and the tango and the cha-cha-cha. I still do it now. And now I can sing those songs. So from the strip group where I could sing and dance and do all these incredible routine and dress up in theatrical clothing, we had a ball. We did a season in Blackpool at the famous Sandcastle. And after that, oh my God, did a bit of modeling. I joined an agency in Manchester. It was called Boss. And ironically, the owner of that agency, him and his partner, Deborah, his name was Nigel Martin Smith, who would become the manager of Take That, and his partner, Deborah Burns. They had this wonderful agency. They sent me all over the world, modeling and TV presenting and acting. I had a great time. Weirdly enough, I was actually in the agency when the IRA bomb went off in Manchester. I was actually stuck in there with 3 members of Take That, and we were told that we couldn't leave until the police had given it the all clear. Wild times. Oh my God, I'll never forget that day. It was very exciting, but concerning at the same time. So for modeling, I moved down to London. I got myself a London agent, and it all just exploded. I traveled to New York. I worked in Milan, traveled to Los Angeles. I got myself a hair contract with the world famous Paul Mitchell shampoos, which landed me in English and Spanish Vogue. I was on an advertisement in Vogue several times. It was very wild. I had this wonderful contract, fly everywhere, first class, and sadly enough, the gentleman who actually gave me the contract, the name of Leslie Spears, who was a wonderful, wonderful father-like figure in my life, and actually opened many doors and supported me just like a father. Supported my musical career. He actually bought me a keyboard so I can sing at the Paul Mitchell gatherings, the large gatherings in London and Las Vegas. I met the famous Jean-Paul DeJorio, the guy with the ponytail, who I think now owns that famous tequila brand, the most expensive tequila in the world. Ironically, he bought that label when there was a drought of agave. Look how well he's gone on.
Yeah, gosh.
I think he made more money from selling tequila in 1 year than he probably did in 10 years selling shampoo.
Amazing, eh?
But he was wonderful, actually. You know, it was crazy. I actually met at one of the Paul Mitchell talks, the gatherings in London, when all these wonderful thousands of hairdressers in England, I think they represented 5,000 salons in the United Kingdom alone. So they would have these wonderful gatherings of hairdressers who were so well dressed, so positive, really have a great ambition of goal chasing. If you've got a hairdressing friend, you probably know how ambitious and how good at dreaming they are. I know a lot of hairdressers, and they're all incredibly successful. While I was there, I was sat next to a lady called Heather Mills, who was actually brought in to actually discuss how when you're at the lowest point in your life, you can turn it all around to actually be a success. It was that lady that went on to marry Paul McCartney. Yeah, I sat next to her. The whole audience were crying at her story, actually, how she lost her leg in the actual accident, and how the police person, I think, successfully sued her for actually causing the accident. But it's funny, we actually swapped numbers, Heather and I, and we met in Soho while she was walking her dogs, but nothing became of that. Paul McCartney got in there first.
Yeah.
And
he took a hit.
He took. She was a very magnetic personality. She was an incredible speaker. She had this incredible energy. I have to say, she was so positive, and she just seemed to be exuding light. And I could see the attraction for Paul, without a doubt. Obviously, later in life, they didn't see eye to eye on certain things, but everybody can't be perfect. Everybody's got their own little journey. So after that, where do we go from there? Oh my good Lord, I'm just trying to. I presented on QVC, which is the shopping channel. It was very successful. I used to go to a wonderful power station, Battersea Power Station in London. I'd catch the tube everywhere in London, and I'd get off on the other side just so I could walk across this beautiful bridge in Battersea, the Battersea Bridge, which I think Love Actually was filmed on. There's been a lot of films on the Battersea Bridge. So I worked at QVC for a little while, and I was their go-to guy for a company called Slender Tone. Electronic ab workout machines. And I was on there with a wonderful lady from, she used to be in the Carry On movies. She was a beautiful, beautiful lady. She had a gorgeous little beauty mark there on her lip, and she was Carry On nurse, or Carry On doctors. What was
Barbara Windsor?
No. She did EastEnders. She was a singer.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's her name?
Yeah, she was like Barbara. I know, I can see her.
Had long legs and dark hair. She was absolutely gorgeous. She's on YouTube. I actually sent her a message recently on Messenger. She obviously doesn't do Facebook that often, because I'd like to reconnect with her, because she really took me under her wing. She had a massive following. She was a huge celebrity. And together she used to sell to the ladies, I used to sell to the gentlemen on QVC. So in a 14-hour live TV stint, we'd actually sell a lot of units. And I used to get spotted on the underground when I was living in London, and people, when they think you know you, they go, and then they can't remember your name, and they don't know why they'd met you. But it happened a few times actually on the tube, and I did it actually a couple of times myself when I was working on Coronation Street as an extra. I go up to people, your brain would actually work faster than your recognition. Your recognition would work faster than your brain in reverse. But I'd see all the famous people from Coronation and go, "Hey, you going, mate? Yeah, what have you been up to?" And I'd actually feel like I knew them. It was the wildest thing. So it was funny that I was actually experiencing that from the other side. But so for modeling and I've acted in potentially over 300 TV commercials easily across Europe, United Kingdom, America, Australia. I became a photographer as well whilst working as a model, because all my photographer friends who used to photograph me, they said, "You know what, Rhydian, you're in the perfect place to actually give yourself another career if you want to pick up a camera," because everything was shot on film in those early days. So I had a lot of model friends. I should call them up and, call them up and say, "I'll give you a free test. I'm not going to cost you anything." I had to practice. I had the most amazing portfolio. I'll stay there. I'll grab it. I'll stay there. Oh my God! I mean, here's a bit of my photography. Look, I used to do all this photography. It's upside down. I used to do all this amazing photography with all my friends and stuff.
Wow.
It's a bit naughty, but I work for Sunseeker Boats. I work for Paul Mitchell, the magazine. I do all these incredible shoots. So it was a real passion. I was a real artist, I used to. I just had a flair. I just had a flair at catching things. I really enjoyed it. And then for photography, I'd sort of doing a few movies. And
hang on. I've got some of those names for you: Joan Sims, Hattie Jakes, Barbara Windsor, Patsy Rowland.
None of those. Who was the first one? You broke up in the first one.
Joan Sims.
No.
She played nurse. Yeah.
No, there was another lady that was a nurse. Have a look. She had long black hair. She was a dancer in a cabaret. She was a singer. She had singles out. Keep looking. That's brilliantly looking. Joe Rogan has a guy like that on his show. That you're doing a great job there, Jeff.
All right.
So from photography and stuff, I met this fella through my partner of the time who was working on some singing projects with a very famous producer called Steve Brown, who actually worked with George Michael, Queen, Manic Street Preachers. And he was working on my partner at the time's sort of like an album. And then he just came up with the idea of why don't you and your partner sing together? And so we did. And Paul Mitchell, Leslie Spears actually got on board. And we produced this great single called "In Love with My Best Friend." If you go to my YouTube channel, it's got like over 250,000 plays. It made it onto a wedding list in America. It built up a massive following very quickly. Went a little bit viral back in the day. And we did do 2 singles with Steve Brown. I did a little bit of recording with Cliff Richard's producer, and he did Aha as well. I was doing a little bit of recording in a studio there down in Richmond. Just trying to think of his name now. Alan Tarney, a really incredible producer, one of probably the world's most paid out producers with his work with Aha. He did Take On Me. Take On Me. He did that one, obviously. And so it was great. I did all this studio work, but nothing ever came from it. We had a couple of close encounters with a couple of record companies. I worked with Richard Derbyshire as well. I've just re-released a single from Richard Derbyshire. It's called Speak Without Words. That's on my Spotify. So I did a little bit of singing in England, and then I just sort of packed up everything, sold a house. I toured the world for a year. I just had time off. I just wanted to have a bit of fun. And then when I came back, I was massively interested in coming to Australia because I wasn't too keen on the English climate anymore. I wasn't seeing
Really?
I wasn't seeing enough blue skies and sun, so I actually decided to make a concerted effort. But I was getting a little bit old in the tooth, and it looked like there was no hope for me if I didn't move over here before I turned 40. So I really picked up my my goals, and I set my goal. I was determined to come to Australia, and I did. I came over. I went to school in Brisbane. I learned to become a hairdresser. In 2 years, I did a certificate 3 hairdressing. So I'm a legally trained hairdresser in Australia.
You would have done that at Kangaroo Point, wouldn't you?
No, I did it in where did I do it? I did it in Garden City.
Oh, did you really?
Garden City at a beautiful college called Matters in Grey. And I was there because there was this incredible loophole that the government had actually given all these wannabe immigrants a really good open door into getting into Australia, because they were short of hairdressers. I mean, go figure. And it's a pretty poorly paid career over here. In England, it's a really highly paid. You usually get 60% of your chair, if not more. They don't really do that over here. But I wasn't concerned. It was a way in for me to get into Australia. So I went there. I was there as a student. I was an English-speaking student from England. I was there with Chinese, Polish, Romanian, a Dubai, a Saudi Arabian, German. There was even an Afghani girl there as well, and it was an absolute riot because all the students couldn't hear. They had trouble with the Australian accent. Because in Queensland it's very thick, and you know the way they greet each other is mate, and I really struggle with the Australian accent. But and all the really highly educated Polish and Romanian and German people that could speak 3 languages, you know, they could speak English fluently, but they go to me, Rhydian, what are they saying? What are they saying? I go, well, you know. I'd say, well, this is what, you know. So I became a bit of a translator, a little bit like that commercial that Western Australian Premier did during COVID. Remember when you had that Aboriginal lady there? It was just, that was crazy. I remember watching that and thinking, is this actually real? Well, that's how I actually felt at the college. I was actually translating English back into English. But so from there, I graduated, and the Australian government decided to take hairdressing off the list, so I was buggered. They gave me the carrot. There you go.
Yeah.
And they took it away, so I was kind of in no man's land. And the ironic thing, I think 500,000 boat people arrived in that particular year. There was a lot of issues with boat people coming over here, and even though I'd actually paid for a visa, they couldn't process it. And it took them 5 years to process my visa because there was a backlog of all these asylum seekers for 5 years. And in that 5 years, whilst waiting for my visa, my graduation visa to be processed, I actually got married, built a house. I had a baby, and I still wasn't an Australian citizen. It was wild. So I got in touch with a local federal MP. In Australia, we have a federal MP and we have a Commonwealth MP. Like in England, I think we have the Lords, and then we have the Houses of Parliament. It's a similar system. It's based upon the English system, but it's different in the fact that we have an upper and a lower house. And here, the lower house is a federal government where you have federal MPs or senators. And so I contacted my federal MP, and literally within 48 hours, it actually put me to the front of the queue. I could actually process my visa and work it all out. But it was a process, and it was weird. I have to say this actually to an Australian political system, that you shouldn't really make somebody that's English and only speaks English to keep taking an English class every 2 years, because my certificate ran out after 2 years. I was here for so long, I had to take 3, and they were $400 a pop. And ironically enough, I didn't get top marks. Top marks was 8.5. I'd get 8. I think it was the Chinese person that couldn't understand Mancunian. But anyway, I love being on it over here now. So now, from hairdressing, I was actually cutting a 15-year-old friend of mine, who a brilliant magician called Matt Hollywood, who's been the Entertainer of the Year, is a fantastic comedian, magician, and he's had a show permanently now on the Gold Coast for around about the last 7 years. I think he's down in Orchid Avenue. He's definitely worth seeing. He's an incredibly tall, handsome, blonde guy who I used to color his hair and cut his hair. And he sent one of his singers in, whose name was Jake Mayweather, 15-year-old, another highly successful and very tall teenager that Matt wanted me to cut his hair. So he told me how much he earned in a gig, and I thought, oh my God, I don't really earn that much as a hairdresser in a week. So I thought, I'm going to follow this guy around. He must have thought, who's this 40-year-old dude follow me around to all my gigs? But I was checking out his song playlist. I was looking at his PA, and I was sort of working out what sort of venues, because I'd sort of got this idea that I wanted to do it, because whilst driving home one day, I actually listened to the radio and I heard a song by Michael Bublé. The song was called Everything, which is a song that Michael wrote for his then girlfriend actor, who's also Mary Poppins, and not Julie Andrews, the other one. And anyway, he wrote that song for her, and I thought, oh my God, it's in my key. I love the way it sounds. And it came on the radio so many times. I learned the words really quickly. And so between the young teenager who I was cutting his hair, and between Michael Bublé, that gave me the inspiration to actually start singing again. I auditioned for my wife and her parents in the house, sang 5 songs. And so this is a very famous Australian way to speak, and Jeff's going to get this. I said, so how did it go? To my wife, and she said, yeah, nah. She said, you sounded really good in some places, but there's a bit of rehearsal. So I rehearsed in the car for 6 months. I learned 70 songs by heart in the car. And then I said to my wife, Paula, I said, I think I'm ready to audition again. And then literally after I auditioned, she said, perfect, now go and get some jobs. They were going to the beach with our newly born son, Kalen. And she said, I'll meet you there. You go and get some gigs on the way to the beach. I actually went through Sanctuary Cove in Hope Island. I picked up 3 gigs on the way to the beach.
I used to live there.
I used to live there, yeah. We used to live in Coomera. So driving from Coomera to the Spit, Southport, we'd go there down to the Spit on the Gold Coast. It's a beautiful, beautiful beach. It's got a pier, and it's got a wonderful horizon. It goes all the way down from Morton, where is it? Tipplers. It goes down from the Coomera River all the way down to Coolangatta. It's a huge bay. It's an absolute phenomenal, beautiful bay.
Yeah, because I lived in Upper Coomera for a bit.
Oh, it's beautiful in Upper Coomera. Whereabouts did you live? What street?
Oh, I couldn't tell you now. Flip. About 10 past lights. Yeah.
It's changed a bit now. You wouldn't recognise the place. They've really built up into the hills, but it's very pretty. I actually sing at a lifestyle village up there. It's called Sea Change, and they're very kind to me, and they seem to like the songs that I sing, and I get booked regularly. And it's a bit of a chain around Australia. If you check it out, it's a beautiful, beautiful chain, very luxurious. So you can either buy, I think you buy your house, but you don't own the land. And like, it's a little bit like Body Corporate. You know, you pay a monthly fee so you can use one of their 7 pools. You get free yoga lessons. They've got an indoor cinema, in-house cinema and everything. And they've got an entertainment, and I'm one of the entertainment. So at the moment, I've actually found myself, because I'd say that most of my audience is female and 65 and above, but luckily a lot of gentlemen out there are real good jazz lovers, and they seem to like the music of Frank Sinatra and Michael Bublé. I do Bobby Darin, Dean Martin, all the Rat Pack songs, and I actually sing. I'm lucky enough to know Engelbert Humperdinck's son, who lives on the Gold Coast. His name's Scott. I actually met him in Byron whilst I was searching for a recording studio to record an album. And this gentleman who I didn't know, whose name's Scott Dorsey, he actually he said, "What sort of music do you do?" And I said, "Well, I sing Michael Bublé." And he said, "Hold on, check this out." And he pulled out his phone and he had a picture of him, Michael, like this. And I'm like, "How did you get that photo?" He said, "I manage my dad." I went, "Who's your dad?" He said, "Engelbert Humperdinck." I went, "You are kidding." So we've had this great relationship, and he's got me some fantastic gigs. Scott actually got me a season as the in-house entertainer at the Palazzo Versace, where in England, you'd know that hotel really well because it's where all the celebrities who get thrown out of "I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here," that's where they all go and stay. So yeah,
we had a mate of ours, Rob Burgess, and he is a steel guitarist, and he was in the circuit with his agent, and Engelbert's name at the time was Gary something or other, and he came into his agent and said, "I'm changing my name, Engelbert Humperdinck," and the guy said, "That's not going to go anywhere. Hello, boom, boom."
Well, Gary, yeah, he was the same manager as Tom Jones.
Huh?
I've read Tom Jones's autobiography, and some incredible stories. Was a lot of competition between. I do actually sing Tom Jones songs as well, by the way, just to let you know. There was just this competition between Engelbert and Tom. It was really healthy, and they both stimulated each other's careers. I think Tom probably had slightly the higher range, and he's more of a bluesy singer, whereas Engelbert is very renowned for being a romantic crooner. And ironically enough, when people actually say the word crooner, they don't actually know that it originally was actually was an offensive word. It was invented by tenors and baritones before the microphone, the age of the microphone was invented. Oh, he's just a crooner, because you need to sing with a microphone. You can't belt out the song without a microphone. So it was a derogatory term that's actually stuck. So the word crooner actually does denote what sort of genre of music you sing, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all those crooners. Then it went on to Engelbert.
Perry
But you know
Como.
what? I still love Perry Como. Oh my God, Matt.
Yeah.
El Messina with El. No, El. Oh, my brother loves it.
Matt Monroe.
I did. Talking about that Tom Jones, when he was living at Piddle, what's it? How do you pronounce it? Piddle. What's the name of the Welsh town? Pontypridd. Anyway, so there weren't any phones around in the local area. They had a phone box down the end of the street, and they used to go down to everybody used to go down to that phone box and make the phone calls. So he got really sentimental, and because he lives in Los Angeles, he actually went and brought that phone box and got it shipped over to bloody Los Angeles. Yeah.
Oh my God! Do you know what I thought you were going to say then? When he was missing the Welsh people, I thought he knew the phone number of the box and he would just call it and hope somebody in Wales would answer it. Hello, Tom got thrown out of a fish and chip shop window in his hometown. I think he was trying to chat up a lady whose boyfriend was actually in there as well at the same time, and he had tuberculosis. A lot of very famous singers, Bobby Darin had tuberculosis as well. It's like these really powerful singers that were denied the one thing in the world that they wanted to do. So when they could sing again, there was no stopping these people. Nothing could stop them. If they were going to be a singer. So Tom and Bobby Darin. There's another one I can't remember now. But do you know what?
Where's that guy?
Who was it?
El Martini. El Martini. Right, doesn't matter. And his name was Gary Dorsey. That's it.
Gary Dorsey. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
oh my God. That's his real name. Yeah.
Yeah, they all had matching. There's a famous photograph with Tom, Engelbert, and Gary, all with matching Rolls Royces.
Oh, is that right?
With a big fat cigar. Naughty boys. Yeah, I love that music. I was brought up with that music. So Tom Jones, the Beatles, Elvis, Cliff Richards, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree, which is a song that I sang to my children when they were babies, and they know all the songs inside out. When I'm singing in Chinese in the car, my wife and Gracie and Kaylin all can sing in Mandarin. Wow. Because if I don't sing this song every couple of months, it completely exits my brain. Yeah. So they can all sing. I was hopeless. At language at school. But I can still remember the French words that I did learn, but for some reason my heart wasn't in it. But since I've moved to Australia, I can sing in Japanese, Mandarin. I even learned an Indonesian song, which I actually forgot because I didn't practice. Like I said, if you don't keep practicing these songs, they just go out of your brain, because you have to keep connecting the synaptic membranes for that connection to remain. Otherwise, it just exits, it goes. Singing Italian.
Coming back to Engelbert, he was here at the Crown Casino down the Gold Coast there. And
he was.
And I'll tell you how much of a showman he is. He actually, you can know in his voice there that he hasn't got the top register anymore. And he actually works the show so well that he goes and gets the microphone and he goes to all the ladies in the front 10 rows, and he said, and you know it. And so all those girls 10 rows back, there's like fucking 100 of them. They're all singing his top register that he can't sing anymore. He's really fantastic.
I love that. And that's really strange, actually, because as you get older, you are supposed to lose your top register. And I saw Robbie Williams the other day on social media. He seems to be doing the rounds. He's getting very popular again because of that movie, A Better Man, where he's played by a monkey. It's quite funny, but it's strange. But I noticed on his songs that he sings, he's sort of doing a similar thing. He'll get the audience to sing the words to the high range. But I've done it myself at the end of a 4-hour gig. Like for instance, I was at Redcliffe on New Year's Eve, and by 12:10, I'd sang for 4 hours 10 minutes. My voice was really hammered. So, and you know what? I'm my own worst enemy. Somebody said, "Can you sing me Moon Dance?" And my voice was gone. I just couldn't help myself. I still tried it, but it was embarrassing because my top register had actually left the building. So I did a similar thing. I sort of just passed it out to the audience. It's a secret trade secret. So when people are doing that, it's probably because they need a bit of assistance.
Now we know.
We had a local guy who was well known. Was John Rolls, and because
I know John.
His Mary Pigman and his kid. He got a job up in Hawaii, and so he got a guy from our football team who was his nephew to come up to Hawaii to become the roadie and learn all the tricks of the trade. Yeah. Anyway, he used to do two shows with the matinee and then the evening show. I said, I'll just put myself in there. Anyway, what took place was he got another well-known New Zealand singer called Howard Morrison, who became Sir Howard Morrison. He said, "Come on up. I've got a gig for you for a fortnight." So he turns up and Howard says, "My voice won't last a fortnight. 2 songs a day." He said, "No, mate, this is how you do it." So the matinee, he said, "You're going to have all the oldies in the audience, and you're going to ask them what state they come from. And once they tell you the state, you sing a few bars of their state's national anthem, or for their state, and they'll love it. You go around to all the different states." He said, "That'll take up at least 45 minutes. The show goes for an hour and a half, and then you sing a few of your big songs, boom, boom, easy, save your voice, and then you wait for the evening show, because all those folks, they've all had their little tea and they've all gone to bed, but they've told everybody else you've got to go see the show, and then you'd bring out your big numbers and just save your voice."
Jeffrey, I'm going to write that down, actually. Yeah, I'm actually going to contact John actually, because that's actually really useful. The only sort of real Australian songs that I actually know, obviously, is Waltzing Matilda, and I sing "We Still Call Australia Home," which is a famous Alan song,
That's
which is
right.
wild. My 13-year-old, when he was 13, he's 14 now, but my son actually played on what's his name? Alan?
Peter.
Peter Allen.
Peter
So
Allen.
Peter Allen he sold his piano apparently for $250,000. It's that beautiful white grand piano in Twin Towns on the stage there. My 13-year-old son actually played and sang whilst he was he was like the opener for Tommy Memphis while everybody was walking in. Kalen was playing and he played "Still Call Australia Home" on Peter Allen's piano. It was a wonderful experience, and some old ladies actually still remind me of the significance of that actually. My son actually, his name's Kalen Reese Lewis, and he's on Spotify. He's written some beautiful songs. So if you want to go and
Really?
find, if you want to go and find him, he's got a fabulous, fabulous voice. He's written. He won't do covers now. He'd busk in Byron Bay, and he'd make more than Daddy would make at a gig, just in a couple of hours busking. Because obviously, as a child, Australians are superbly supportive of children musically over here. I have to say that. You'd get so many people that would walk past on the pavement and literally give them either a $50 or $100 note.
Really?
It's an experience to behold. Australians really, it's in their soul. I was shocked when I first moved over here how many people could actually play an instrument, piano, guitar. There's so many guitar players over here. Some of the best horn and sax players you'll ever find anywhere in the world are over here. Some phenomenal drummers. And I actually have this massive band that's organically being created. We do a Michael Bublé show, and
So
yeah,
shall we play
wonderful.
it?
Hey,
Shall we play it? Shall we play it?
oh, let people go and find it. Let people go and find it
Put
after
it
this.
on.
You can. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, you can. There's my Bublé thing. There's my Bublé.
Birds flying high.
It was absolutely wonderful. I could sit right through that again.
I feel.
I'd see it again. Loved every part of the show. Very professional. It was lovely. Oh, fabulous show.
Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Babe, I miss you.
If I shut my eyes, I'd have thought it was Bublé.
Rhydian Lewis is one of the best singers I've ever heard.
He's an Aussie Bublé. I think he was channeling a lot of Mr. Bublé, but his charisma himself was very entertaining.
I gotta be cool, relax, and get help, and get on that track to take the back seat.
Very, very tight. The band was amazing.
Certainly complimented the singing prowess of Rhydian.
The full brass going, and they were just superb. Well, they were really good as well. I don't know if the band's got a good voice, but Melissa has. I thought Melissa complimented Rhydian singing beautifully.
And in his arms you're gonna be. So darling, say the last dance for me. Happy birthday, this is for you. You make me feel so young.
Absolutely fantastic. He was just the greatest. Absolutely fabulous. Brilliant. Enjoyed it all. It's well worth it. It really was.
Thank you for
Fabulous.
showing that. Thank you for showing
Yeah.
that. That's been one of the best promos I've ever made actually for any show. Yeah, it's weird actually. You just played home there. Australia actually made home Michael Bublé #1 first in Australia than before any other country. Australia has a massive love for Michael Bublé music, and we toured that show predominantly, virtually all over Queensland. We've done a lot of New South Wales. I've played a couple of times in Melbourne, and even been to Taipei. But I'd love to come to England actually and do it at some stage. I'm actually trying to work on that at the moment as well. I'd love to come to England. I've just seen David Essex has done a huge, massive, popular tour just at the back end of 2024. He's had one of the most sold out tours in recent times, and I'd love to replicate that actually. But I flew into Brisbane once when I knew that home song, and I actually got goose pimples because I was singing it to myself as he touched down in Brisbane. I was landing in Australia when I called Australia home.
That's bloody Qantas.
It's really emotional. It's a beautiful
they
song.
do that to you, don't they?
It's highly emotional to actually,
Yeah.
because I'm a patriotic guy. I love my English and Welsh roots. But, where you actually choose to live for whatever that reason may be, whether it was the weather predominantly for me, and just the sense of adventure. And I really fell in love with the Australian, what would I call it? The ease of life over here. They've got an absolute love and zest. And I really do believe it has a lot to do with the environment, the fact that they've got wonderful weather mostly.
Yeah.
And they've got very extreme weather, obviously, as well. And they've got such beautiful beaches. And you wouldn't believe the amount of wildlife over here, and the massive forest and bush that exists in Australia. When you fly from the Gold Coast down to Sydney, it's a journey and a half, but I would say it's 99% tree covered. This place is uninhabited. It's an Eden. It is totally beautiful, and I think that my love for this place comes through in my music when I'm singing some of the most powerful songs that have ever been written by some of the most beautiful, gifted singer-songwriters, and people really pick up on it in Australia. And I'm pretty sure it's not just Australia; it will be a global thing. On a sunny day, if you listen to the song, it takes you back. Yeah, go.
Yeah, can I ask, like, out of all the songs that you sing, what is your most favourite, and what one do you think touches soul most for people? Is there one in particular that you can just feel when you're singing it? You can feel the audience are with you on such a level?
Andrina, you ask the best questions, I have to say, and I love that accent. Oh my God. I would say Home. Home is an incredibly powerful song. It's a classic. I think it will live the test of time. It will continue on, and it's been recorded and covered quite a lot. But I think the oldest song that I sing that actually has a lot of power with people, it's My Way. Because a lot of people have actually buried parents or loved ones for that song. And people go into uncontrollable fits of tears. Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be the other extreme. It can be really, people don't know how to deal with that certain energy, that because when you're actually taken back to a time, your brain doesn't actually know that it's a memory. It actually feels real to that. It's like you're living it again. And if it was an emotional trigger, maybe the funeral or a burying of a loved one, it's very powerful. And there's a very close similarity. My wife's a psychologist. I pick up all this beautiful meanings about certain emotions, like, for instance, laughing and crying. Very similar. It's a very similar emotion, and it can give you the same lasting effect. Immediately after laughing or crying, sometimes you feel better. You feel lifted, and the power of music, it's huge. My Way is one of those songs. I mean, you know why that was written. And it was Paul Anka wrote it because Frank Sinatra asked him specifically to write a going away song for Frank. He'd had enough of the entertainment business, wanted to spend more time with his family, loved ones, and have more time to do the things he wanted to do and not tour anymore. But obviously that didn't happen. He actually came back in one of the biggest comebacks in history. But that song is a hugely powerful song, and it's wild because the next album that Frank released sold more records than any other album in his history. It was called the Duets album, and it was, I think he was too ill to record, so they, through the art of technology, they got the biggest celebrities alive, you know, in the world. And I think it was 1998 or 95, I can't remember. 94, it was in the 90s when they recorded this Duets album. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time. It was definitely the best-selling album of Frank's career as well. And it just goes to show that when you write a song and it's sort of connected to the tapestry of a population's life, the work that goes out into the cosmos sort of binds everybody together in this unexplainable connection and instantaneous power that this song has on people's hearts. It can transpose people into this wonderful state. That is the power of music. It's huge, and it's really strange because when I'm actually singing, when I'm compiling song lists, I have to love every song on that list. I have to. So when you come to one of my shows, I've actually got an intimate, emotional connection with every single song that I will be singing to, whether it's the lyrics, the story, the way it makes me feel, the harmonies, the chords. There's something powerful about all the songs that I actually choose to sing. It's magical. It's absolutely magical. Being on the stage and feeling this two-way connection. It's a highway of heart maths. I'm connected to the people in the front row, and they're connected to the people behind them. And all of a sudden, it's like a growth. It's like your fingers are actually connected electronically to every person in that audience that wants to be connected to that particular vibe. I can't explain it, but I can feel it. I know that it happens because afterwards, after the show, I have something. It takes me forever to get home, but it's part of my job, and I wouldn't change it. I actually have. I talk for 2 hours. I make the most. I have the best connections and make the most amazing friends and contacts. People who I only meet at shows. I have a wonderful connection with them. They actually tell me when I've made a mistake on a post. They tell me how they're feeling, and they just can't wait to get to their shows. They bring their friends to them. It's just medicine. Music is medicine.
For the soul.
Yeah, it's powerful. Who's that fella?
Yeah. So how far are you booked ahead? You must be, I mean, you know, are you limited to like try and keep in so many days off a week for family time and what have you, and shows? How do you work and balance your work and play and life?
Okay, well, this is my full-time gig. Sorry to use the pun. So I could technically work every day, and there have been times where I've actually worked every day, sometimes twice a day. It usually happens right about November and December. It's the most busiest time in Australia. They absolutely love Christmas songs, and it's one of the only places in the world that actually has Christmas in July as well, because it's obviously their coldest time of the year. So they like to see what it feels like to be cold at Christmas time. So in July, they're like, it's called Christmas in July. I get really busy in July, but yeah, February's packed for me. I've got a lot of theatre shows. I'm actually singing at a wonderful ladies' memorial, actually at the South Tweed Sports Club. I think it might be the 8th of February. A lovely lady who was one of my first supporters. Her name's Leslie Rose, and she just recently passed away. God bless. And I answered a post on Facebook, and I said, look, I'm passing on the day. Would you like me to pop in? And I'd love to sing some songs, because Leslie was one of my first supporters. So I feel like crying now because music connects people. I feel connected to Leslie, even though she's no longer with us. I'm connected to her and her audience and what she did for me. There's a lot of very supportive people in Australia musically as well. I feel blessed. February is busy. I'm actually involved with a Bond, the Music of James Bond show. We're at the Caloundra event centre. I think it might be the 22nd of February. I'm also at the RPAC on the 21st of February, which is Redlands Performing Arts Centre. It's been 5 years since I've been back there with the Bublé show, which is where that video what you just played was recorded at the RPAC. So I'm going there. There you go. There's in the songs in the key of Bond. I think it's now called The Music of James Bond. I think there was a copyright issue. So quickly, Jeffrey, take that picture off the screen. But
God, yeah.
I'm singing with an incredibly talented musical director called Renee Sutty. He's one of the greatest singers I've ever met, actually. And I've met a few in my time. I actually worked with her recently on the first show, the Bond show. She's a very talented jazz musician. If you actually go back through the history of the Brisbane Jazz Club, she's huge. But Renee actually created this show with a company called Wild Goat Entertainment, and I sing the songs of the male vocals of the James Bond theme song. So Tom Jones, Thunderball, Matt Monro, We Have All the Time in that's Louis Armstrong, We Have All the Time in the World, and From Russia with Love, Matt Monro. People said, do you know what's really weird? I actually auditioned for James Bond when I lived in London. They actually gave a call out, but Craig Daniels got it. And it's weird because my agent was a really great agent in London at the time. And I thought I would be a good James Bond. It wasn't meant to be though, but I still wear that James Bond uniform pretty much 3 to 4 times a week. I love wearing my tuxedo, I have to say. It feels like a uniform for me. I actually feel slightly naked if I'm not wearing a tuxedo now. It's a great costume and it's very classy, and it sort of sets the ambience for the audience. Because when you're entertaining somebody, it's really funny. We've got a great agent over here called Shane, and he's from Johnny Bean Agency, Johnny Bean Entertainment. His father was an incredible. I'm sure Jeff would know Johnny Bean. He was a great guitarist on the Gold Coast. He entertained throughout Australia. He's one of the old school, one of the old post. And Johnny said to me once, he said, "Look," he said, "my old man said that the audience should never see you setting up your gear because you break this perception." So it's funny. I always say, people come up to me and say, "I'm looking forward to you singing later." I said, "Oh no, that's my brother. That's my twin brother. I'm Glyn. Rhydian's going to be here later." All right. I do actually have a brother called Glyn. So I'm not actually lying because I'm not a good liar, but I'm sort of doing it in jest. But I'm shocked at how many people actually believe me, which is why I did so well on the QVC, because my accent, a Northern English accent, apparently, according to statistics, is the most trusted English accent in the entire world, Jeffrey.
Wow.
Like a Geordie?
No. So a Northern England, so not going as far as Geordie. I'd say sort of a Lancashire, Manchester, sort of Yorkshire. Not going. Hold on, let's go. What man? It's going up to Scotland. That's a little bit too full on.
Yeah, when the boat comes.
Yeah. But it was really funny. When I was in that strip group, we travelled once to Newcastle, and it was snowing. It was snowing one night. And while we were driving home in the van from our gig, there was a lady walking home in white stilettos and a body-hugging dress with no coat. And we felt compelled to stop, but we thought it might not look good, because obviously it wouldn't have looked good. But we were just amazed that this girl was walking through a blizzard on her way home in stilettos. So it's one of those things, Newcastle people, they're strong. They're a strong ilk. They've probably got a bit of Scottish blood running through those veins. They were powerful people. Do you know what? The power of the English is not to be forgotten. There's a lot of wonderful English people in that island that I do miss terribly. My family, of course. A lot of old friends I left behind and came over here. And this is an open invitation for you to get in touch with me and come over and swim in our pool.
And if you pee in it, we know the colour.
Oh, God.
I wanted to ask you one other thing. In your bio, you put that you sang in front of a stadium in 17,000 people in China.
Yeah, that was undersold to me, shall I say. I wasn't actually sure about the final result. I actually thought that I was singing at a barbecue because I actually sing in Mandarin, and it's funny because little known to the world's singing community that if you're a massive corporation in China, you usually either pay a massive celebrity to sing a very famous Chinese song or to commission one to be written for your company. And this one company was called Fudi, which in English it translates as your health or good health, your health, one of those. Fudi, and that's what it sounds like in Mandarin. And they came over to the Gold Coast, and the Gold Coast tourism, their leading Chinese Asia sort of rep, who inspired all of these 17, there would have been about 4,000 delegates from China to come to the Gold Coast. And I sang in front of them, singing there the corporate song. And it went down so well that they invited me to go to Guangzhou, which is their headquarters in China. Just, I think it's about 80 miles outside of northwest of Hong Kong. And they gave me a list of songs. I was singing 4 songs. I was getting paid very nice. They put me in a 5-star hotel, flew me on Southern China Airlines. I got there, and we went into a football stadium. It was the Guangzhou Sporting Arena, and there were delegates from all over the world. Even the Chinese army were there, marching down with the flag right to the stage. It was huge. It was bigger than Australia's Got Talent. It was huge. And I was really nervous. Went out and sang and walked out into the audience. I've actually still got the video footage. I should actually put it onto my YouTube. The Chinese are so tactile. They are so beautiful. And if you sing to them in their language, it really breaks down a lot of walls. Like, again, the power of music. And they would touch me, sing with me, get photographs with me live as I was singing their song with them. And it even got to a point where the bodyguards had to come out and actually rip me out of it and tell me to get back on stage. I've got it on film. It was incredible. The Guangzhou Sporting Arena, it's huge. And do you know what? I'm inspired to put that video up.
There you go.
I sang Josh Groban. The Chinese people love powerful songs. What is it? The really famous Josh Groban song. You know that song?
I know that.
Stand on your shoulders.
What's it called?
Stand on your shoulders. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. You raise me up.
Yeah, raise me up.
Yeah. So that's a big. It's really funny how many Chinese people actually love the really powerful songs. So that was one of my songs that I sang. It was huge.
Wow.
Honestly, they were singing along. 70,000 people with all these glowing, sort of bigger than a human body hands waving. I'll put the video on my YouTube. If you follow me and subscribe, I'll put that up in the next couple of weeks, because it was a really special moment in my life. It actually proved to me, no matter where you're from and what language in him. Music, the power of music is huge. It's huge. It can change lives. It can make you live longer, make you feel better.
Yeah.
It's something that connects us all. And I think the Australian and the English government, if they're listening, and I'd love for them to be listening, Albanese and Keir Starmer, Sir Keir Starmer, if you're listening, I think you need to create a special dedicated department of music. I really believe that, because medically, inspirationally, for health reasons and other reasons, and for the connection and the bringing and the uniting together of humanity, you can't go further than music. There's some songs out there, and there's some songs that haven't been written yet that actually could change the world. You know, it could. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's powerful.
No, it's true.
Keir and Albanese, I'd love to meet you, and I'll head up. I'll be the minister of music, if you like.
Yeah.
I'll do it for free.
You can be Joseph.
I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. I'll sing in Chinese, Japanese, Italian, English, Welsh, which is the world's officially, it's harder than Dutch. I tried to learn the Welsh national anthem. My mum can sing it, and my father could sing it, obviously. But I'm going to sing it. If there's anybody listening out there that lives in New South Wales or Queensland, and you feel like coaching me, I'm happy to pay you to learn me the Welsh national anthem, because I love to sing it at a rugby match in Brisbane or Sydney one day. That's one of my dreams. So if you're listening out there and you can help me learn the Welsh national anthem, please get in touch. What is that?
Something popped in and it's popped out again now.
I love it when that happens. Don't you just love that?
Well, that's how it is.
I get to the laundry and I go,
oh, I know.
The laundry?
Yeah, what am I here for?
What am I here for? I'll go in the fridge and go, was it food?
You asked about the lady Carol put up that was Fenella Fielding.
No.
What,
if I had my phone available, because I'm using it for this call.
What did Carol put up? Yeah, she put
No,
up.
it's not Fenella Fielding. No. So it's the singer. She had a beautiful birthmark here on top of her head.
Yeah, I can remember.
Oh my God. If you actually put Slender Tone, QVC, you might get
What is that, QVC what?
No,
Slender Tone.
What's that? QVC what?
Slender Tone. It's one word, slender, Tone at the end. Slender Tone, and QVC. Put Rhydian Lewis, and you might actually get my partner in crime. She was wonderful. She really took me under her wing. She was so famous. I'm so embarrassed I can't remember her name. It'll come. I have to say that you guys have been having some wonderful guests on your show lately. I like the investigator from you had on recently, the lovely guy from England. Is he a historian, a famous historian? I really enjoyed watching that. What is that noise? Are you doing a bit of sawing?
No, it's I'm on a farm and
they're coming through.
They're doing the lawn.
No, is that her?
Hang on.
No. She's way too young. No,
we can find out and put it up afterwards.
It'll come to me, but I'm a little bit embarrassed that I can't remember. I'm getting an A. The word A, the letter A is coming to mind.
That's all about exercises, that one.
It's a shame my mum's not listening, because maybe you are listening, Mum. She could tell you.
Yeah.
She could tell you. Are you guys have you got a busy week?
We're halfway through the week. It's Friday tomorrow, so we're at the end of the week.
Have you got a busy weekend?
No, not at
As
the
an
moment.
artist, I don't know what day of the week it is. That's an occupational hazard. I don't know what day of the week it is.
No, I have a quiet weekend at the moment, so who knows? See what opportunity knocks. Anyway, do you want to give us a few bars before you go? Something to sing us out with? Because it's been an absolute delight, and the sound is getting louder. Oh, it's just stopped for a minute. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show and sharing your story. And yeah, it's been really lovely. I'm so thankful that you've been available to speak to us today.
Oh, Adrina, it's an absolute pleasure. And during the interview, I've actually felt you a few times. Actually, I've been connected to you a few times. So thank you for that. I feel that you're very sensitive, very powerful, very emotional, and a very giving person. So thank you for your time. And I really do wish you both a lot of luck, a lot of coming to you, wellness coming to you in the very near future. And Jeffrey, I hope to bump into you very soon, my good man, at a gig. And I actually put a post on my Facebook today, and I think it was a meme. It said, if you cuddle, try and do it skin to skin. Yeah. But I had to readdress it, because I actually put on some. It just said that you have to do it skin to skin, because I think it said your nervous system will thrive or enjoy it. And I had to rethink, because I posted it and I think I said something like, it's really hard to get skin to skin when you're wearing a tuxedo, but I said my hands and face is available. But I thought that sounds really dodgy.
Oh, leaving yourself wide open there then.
I left myself wide open, and I've not been on Facebook all day since I posted that, so I'm going to go on and probably feel the fallout. But I'm trying to limit myself actually to social media at the moment, because I think it's a good thing, as long as you do it within measured lengths, and because I think time travels really fast when you're actually on social media. So I think set aside an hour a day to do all your emailing and your social media posting, because life's too valuable to spend it all day just what do they call it, surfing and flicking. It's a tool. It's a tool, and it can be good and it can be bad. So just like anything, measure it out in healthy proportions, everybody out there. But really do enjoy the connection that it does give to us all. Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube. It's really powerful. And it's great that you guys are actually starting up this FM 88. And I feel very blessed to be in the early tsunami of guests, because I feel that you guys are going somewhere, because you've got beautiful energies, and I wish you both well. And I feel very humbled to be invited on. So thank you so much. And I do invite anybody to get in touch with me on any of the social media. And please do go listen to my YouTube. I post something every week on YouTube. Been a bit slack over Christmas, but I will release a song every week with a video that you can sit back and just listen to if you don't want to watch it. So most humbled, most gracious, most loving. I really appreciate your time. Jeffrey and Adrina, I bid you adieu, and God bless you. And thank you so much again for your special time. I feel very blessed. Thank you. And hope we can call each other friends. Thank you.
Anita Harris.
Anita Harris, that's it.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Anita Harris. Oh my God, she's beautiful. Anita is one of the greatest gifts musically and actors wise, and as a person. She's really heavily involved in taking care of animals when like animal hospices. And I think she gave a shout out a couple of weeks ago for a particular hospice that she's involved with. So Anita, love Anita. There you go. Oh my good Lord. She's an absolute adorable lady. She's one of a kind. And my mum adores her. So
well, there we go. We ended on a positive note for you.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. And
Very good.
let me know what songs you want me to sing. I love taking requests. That's what I do during my shows. I love requests. So here we're going to go out on a song. Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then.
You can fade me out into the horizon. The
No,
old
because
town
when we do,
looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to greet me is my mama and papa. Down the lane I look, and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
Oh, made me all emotional.
I love you guys. I love
Thank you.
you. Thank you. Be special. Be special. Give everything you got to give.